Hello Millennials, this is Teacher Leonard and today we are going to discuss the topic of Western classical arts, prehistoric, Egyptian, and Greek era paintings. This video tutorial is based from your learning activity sheets in MAPI Arts 9, Quarter 1, Week 1. So bring out your learning activity sheet and turn your learner's module to pages 141 to 147. Our learning targets for this session are: analyze art elements and principles in the production of work following the style of a Western and classical art. Identify distinct characteristics of arts during the different art periods. Before we start the lesson, let's have some warm-up questions first. I have here two questions for you to answer. The first question is, what is the first era in the Western classical arts? You have 5 seconds to answer. Correct! The answer is prehistoric era. The second question is, among the prehistoric, Egyptian, and Greek era, who has more different kinds of arts? You have 5 seconds to answer. Correct! The answer is Greek era. For this session, you are going to identify the distinct characteristics of arts during the different art periods. Analyze art elements and principles in the production of work following the style of a Western and classical art. Understand the importance of arts in the different eras. So, let us now proceed for our lesson for this session. The first one we have here, the prehistoric era. Prehistoric includes all humans' existence before the emergence of writing. Their art is of interest not only to the art historians but also to archaeologists and anthropologists, for whom the art is only one clue includes with fossils, pollens, and other finds to understanding the early human life and culture. Because to study more about the history, art is one of the historians needed to learn something to our history. Next, we have here the paintings from the prehistoric era. Their paintings were found inside the caves, which may have been their way of communicating with each other. It may also be a religious or ceremonial purposes. Prehistoric drawings of animals were usually correct in proportion. Actually, these paintings may have been more an artifact of an archaeological evidence than a true picture of a human first created art. So we have here an example of painting from the prehistoric era. Okay, this painting is named The Cave of Lascaux from the 1500 to 1000 BC from the Stone Age. So, what have you observed on the painting? If you observe the painting carefully, the dominant pictures in this painting were large animals native in the region. It was discovered on the 12th of September 1940 and given a stationary historic monument protection. The painting has nearly 2,000 figures composed mainly of animals, human figures, and abstract design. So let's have a look again on the painting. Here it is. This is the Cave of Lascaux. So let's proceed to the next one. We have here the Egyptian era. Paintings from the ancient Egypt. The purpose of Egyptian painting is to make the deceased afterlife place pleasant. With this in mind, themes include journey to the underworld, introducing the deceased to the gods of the underworld by their protective deities. It emphasizes the importance of life after death and the preservation of knowledge in the past. So in short, this era is more religious than the other era that we discussed earlier, which is the prehistoric era. So let's have an example of their painting. We have here the sarcophagus of Tutankhamen, 18th Dynasty, 1362 AD to 1253 BC. If you look closely to the picture, okay, there's a coffin and paintings on the wall. It shows how they emphasize the life after death in this era. So let us now proceed to the third one and the last era for this session. We have here the Greek era. Paintings from the classical Greek era were most commonly found in vases, panels, and tombs. It depicts natural figures with dynamic composition. They have different dynamic of paintings in this era. The most common methods of Greek paintings, we have here the first one, the fresco, method of painting water-based pigments on a freshly applied plaster, usually on a wall surface. In these modern days, this is actually called the water-based painting. The next one, we have here the encaustic, developed to use by Greek ships builders who use the hot wax to fill the cracks of the ship. Okay, this one they are using hot wax. Now, let's have an example of their painting. The first one we have here, the vase painting. This is the example. Kirch style, also referred as the Kirch vases, are a red figured pottery named after the place where it was found. Actually, this kind of painting is already adopted in these modern days. There are a lot of vases with different design painted of it. Let us have the second one. We have here the panel painting. This is the example of a panel painting. There are paintings on a flat panels of wood. It can be either a small single piece or several panels joined together. So these kind of paintings are made and painted in different flat surfaces, especially on woods. And the last one here is the tomb painting. This is the example of a tomb painting. It is very popular during the classical period. It uses the method frescoes, either tempera, water-based, or encaustic, the wax. The title of the painting named Tomb of the Diver by Pestrum of 480 BCE. Actually, this painting is the most popular painting during the Greek era. Why? Because it is made in different dynamics of painting. It is either the frescoes or encaustic. And that's it. That is the prehistoric, Egyptian, and Greek era. But before we end the discussion, let me have some questions first. Well, how can you say that the elements of their paintings are essential to their culture? And how important is arts in their era? At this point, turn your activity sheet to the enrichment part. Here is the instruction. To know how much you have learned from the discussion about the paintings of the early age, copy the box and write on the piece of your bond paper the different characteristics and functions that would best describe the painting in every era and period. I hope you have learned something today. If you have some questions or clarification regarding to the topic that I discussed, feel free to contact your subject teacher through text, call, or post your questions to our official Facebook page and Facebook group. Once again, this is Teacher Leonard. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.